Listen, man, no one's gonna tell you this, but I will. She craves you, but not the version of you who chases, begs, or breaks under the weight of rejection. She craves the man who has learned the hard way to stand silent, steady, and unshaken, even when the world around him feels like chaos. The man who doesn't crumble at the thought of loss or the sting of absence because he's forged himself in fire and came out cold as ice. This craving you feel, or maybe don't yet fully recognize, it isn't about words. It's not about declarations or promises that hang on a thread. It's an energy, a force, something she senses deep down, even if she won't or can't admit it. It's raw and primal, and it's tied to something far greater than her own confusion or denial. Women, whether they admit it or not, are drawn to strength, but not strength as you might imagine it, not brute force or control. They are drawn to the strength that is calm, that is measured, that is born from complete mastery over oneself. It is the strength of a man who is not defined by her acceptance or rejection, who doesn't depend on her approval for his sense of worth. That is the man they crave, the man they long for but refuse to confess. But most men misunderstand this. They mistake craving for possession. They believe that if they chase harder, text more, explain themselves, or beg for attention, she will crave them. The exact opposite is true. Neediness is the death of craving. Desperation is the poison that kills attraction. A man who is tethered to a woman's approval is a man who is trapped in chains, and nobody wants to be caged, not even her. She craves freedom, but first, she craves it in you. She wants to feel the presence of a man who walks through his own storms without falling apart, who feels pain, who knows loss, but refuses to be consumed by either. That paradox, a man who feels deeply but responds with calm, a man who's been burned but doesn't burn alive, that's what ignites craving in her. You felt it yourself, haven't you? The deep pull inside when you want to reach out, when you want to fix the unfixable, when you long for closure that will never come, the urge to break the silence, to explain, to justify, to remind her what she lost. It's a human thing. It's natural to want to fill that void, but it is also the moment when you give away your power, because craving, true craving, is not born from filling a void. It is born from being a force that unsettles, that challenges, that invites mystery. It's the tension between presence and absence, between knowing your worth and refusing to prove it. Think of it this way: she is fire, wild and unpredictable, consuming and warm, but dangerous. You must be ice, cold, steady, unyielding. Fire is drawn to ice, but if ice melts, it loses its edge and becomes ordinary water, soft and unremarkable. When you melt under pressure, when you crumble, you lose your magnetism. But when you remain solid, unshaken by her storms, untempted by the urge to chase, you become something unforgettable. Now, understand, this isn't about pretending to be cold or distant. That's hollow and transparent. Real emotional detachment is not numbness or avoidance. It's clarity, it's self-possession, it's the ability to feel pain fully and deeply, but not be ruled by it. It's choosing your actions with intention, not reacting out of desperation or need. You become the man who faces his demons in silence, who acknowledges the hurt but doesn't let it dictate his choices, who turns his gaze inward, building strength and purpose rather than outward in search of validation. This is the kind of detachment that makes her question everything she thought she wanted. It plants a seed of doubt, the subtle but deadly question: why isn't he chasing? Why isn't he breaking? What's changed? And that seed grows into craving, a craving so silent and strong that she can't ignore it, even if she tells herself she's moved on. But craving isn't a trap or a game. It's a reflection of transformation. The transformation that happens when you stop bending for anyone, when you stop tying your worth to so many else's presence or absence. So how do you get there? How do you become the man she secretly craves, the man who commands respect without a word? It starts with you. You cultivate your mind, you read, you learn, you expand your understanding of yourself and the world. You don't just fill your time, you invest it in growth. You challenge your limiting beliefs, you embrace discomfort, you build your body, you train not just for looks but for resilience. You show up for yourself daily, whether you feel like it or not. You create your mission, something so compelling, so necessary that it pulls you forward with or without her. You master your emotions. You let yourself feel pain without drowning in it. You sit with your loneliness without running away from it. You allow yourself to be human, but refuse to be a victim. You stop feeding fantasies about reconciliation or validation from her. You accept that her actions do not define your value. This is where real freedom begins, because when you own your life fully, when you root your identity in your own strength and purpose, you become untouchable, you become magnetic, and this magnetism is craving. But don't mistake this for an instant transformation. It's a slow burn, a daily practice. You will falter, you will feel doubt and loneliness, you will want to reach out and break your silence. That's the test. And when you pass it, you become more than a man who's desired. You become a man who is remembered. A man who commands respect because he commands himself. A man who lives by his own values, not by the approval of others. A man who walks with quiet confidence and unshakable peace. So if you're ready to stop chasing, to stop being a shadow of your former self, and to start becoming the man who ignites silent craving just by being, begin today. Choose emotional discipline over reaction. Choose purpose over distraction. Choose yourself over dependency, because craving doesn't come from what you say. It comes from who you are, and who you are, when fully realized, is a force no one can resist. If this message cut through the noise and stirred something restless inside you, that deep desire to rise above confusion, pain, and need, know you're not alone. The path ahead isn't easy. It demands patience, resilience, and brutal honesty with yourself. But every step forward is a step toward the man you were always meant to be. If you're committed to this journey, to mastering yourself and breaking free from chains you once thought unbreakable, subscribe now. Here, you'll find more than advice. You'll find truths that free men. Stay patient, stay strong, stay unshakable, and always remember, she craves you, but only the man you become.